Hi there, welcome back. This is WebLearn. Let's look at functions in grade 10. The questions that we want to look at right now is when you are given a graph and you are asked to determine the equation of that particular graph. Now this one is a parabola. You are given the y-intercept and another point. You need to determine the equation of this function. How do we do that? You should know the equation here is f of x is equal to a x squared plus q. The function f of x is equal to a x squared plus q, and our q tells us the vertical shift. So our function here has been shifted 4 steps downwards. So we can write it as y is equal to a x squared minus 4. So we can write it as y is equal to a x squared minus 4. So our q here is -4. After that, we need to determine the value of a. To determine the value of a, we make use of the given coordinate. Sometimes you are not given a coordinate, sometimes you're just given the intercepts. So you use whichever point you are given there. Our x is 4 and our y is 12, so 12 is equal to a bracket 4 squared minus 4. And then our 4 goes to the other side. Is 12 plus 4 is equal to 4 squared is 16, so we have 16a. 12 plus 4 is also 16, so 16 is equal to 16a divided by 16 divided by 16, and your a is equal to 1. Therefore, where we have a, we put a 1. We have f of x is equal to x squared minus 4. The coefficient of x is 1, so our a here is equal to 1. And then you may be asked to determine the values of x for which this function is decreasing. This function decreases from -infinity coming down to this point. So this point, we call it the minimum. So it decreases until it gets to its minimum at 0. And then after the minimum, it starts to increase. So it increases also all the way to infinity. The next one, okay, here is another parabola. With this one, we are given the x-intercepts and another point, and we are supposed to determine the equation of this graph or the function. So it's f of x is equal to a x squared plus q. F of x is equal to ax squared plus q. All right, that's y is equal to a x squared plus q. We need to find the value of a and the value of q. How do we do this? Unfortunately enough, we do not have the y-intercept, so we'll have to determine these two values, a and q. We make use of the given coordinates. I want to use this one, that is 2 as to 0. That's one of the two x-intercept. So my y is 0, so it's 0 is equal to a bracket, our x is 2, so it's 2 squared plus q. So this 2 squared is 4, so it's 0 is equal to 4a plus q. That's my first equation. And then now I want to substitute this one, 3s to 10. My y is 10, so is 10 is equal to a bracket, my x is 3, so is 3 squared plus q. So 10 is equal to, this is 9, so it's 9a plus q. That's my second equation. That's my second equation. So I've got two variables, a and q, a and q. Let me solve these simultaneously. So let me say equation 2 minus equation 1. So it's going to be 10 minus 0 is 10 is equal to 9a minus 4a is 5a, q minus q is 0. So we are left with 10 is equal to 5a over 5 over 5. They cancel each other. 5 into 10 is 2. So my a is equal to 2. And then I go back to my equation. Y is equal to 2x squared plus q. I now have the value of a. I need to find the value of q. How do I do that now? Let's use this one, that is 2s to 0. Let's substitute again. Our y is 0 is equal to 2. Our x is 2, so it's 2 squared plus q. So 2 squared is 4 times 2, 8. 0 is equal to 8 plus q. 8 goes to the other side, is negative. 8 is equal to q. So my q is 8, my q is negative 8, and my a is positive 2. So my f of x here is equal to, the a is 2, so it's 2x squared minus 8. That means this part here is negative 8. Our function was moved or shifted 8 steps downwards. And then the other method, this is the first one. The second method, which works if and only if you have got the intercepts, the x-intercepts. It's y is equal to a bracket x minus x1 bracket x minus x2. All right, we can make use of this method if we are to determine the equation of a function. That is the parabola. It's y is equal to a bracket x minus x1 bracket x minus x2. Now the x1 and the x2 are the x-intercepts. So in this case, we are just going to say y is equal to a bracket x minus, our x1 is negative 2, so it's minus negative 2. And then you close bracket, open another one, x minus 2, since our second intercept is 2. And then we expand this bracket, is going to be y is equal to a x plus 2 x minus 2. I hope you can recognize this one. That's the difference of two squares. If you don't remember it, you need to go and research about it. So it's a, expanding the difference of two squares, we get x squared minus 4. Now to get the value of a, we make use of the other coordinate there, that is 3 to 10. Our x is 3 and our 10 is our y. So we write our 10 in place of y, and a bracket in place of x we write our 3, so it's 3 squared minus 4. 3 squared is equal to 9, so it's 9 minus 4, we get a 5. So we are going to have 10. On the right side we have 5a. Since 3 squared is 9 and 9 minus 4 is 5, then you divide both sides by 5. Your a would be equal to 2. It's just like here where we got our a. And then we come back to our equation here. We now have the value of a, so we just put that 2. So it's y is equal to 2 bracket x squared minus 4. Y is equal to 2 multiplied by this bracket. So this gives us 2 by x squared is 2 x squared, and 2 by negative 4 is negative 8. Thus f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 8. These are the two methods that you could have used on this question. And then the next question. All right, here we've got a hyperbola here, and our hyperbola, we remember our vertical asymptote is x is equal to 0. Our horizontal asymptote is y is equal to negative 2. And then our function f of x is equal to a over x plus q. From our function, our horizontal asymptote, that is our vertical shift, so we can write this as y is equal to a over x minus 2. Our q here is equal to 2. Our q is negative 2. And then we need to get the value of a. How do we get the value of a? Let's use the coordinates of this point. This point is negative 1 as to 0. Let's substitute that value. Our y is 0 and our x is negative 1, so it's 0 is equal to a over negative 1 is equal to negative 2. Negative 2 goes to the other side. We have positive 2 is equal to a over negative 1. Multiply both sides by negative 1, or take the negative 1 to the other side. It becomes negative 2 here. So negative 2 is equal to a. So our function then is f of x is equal to negative, our a is 2, negative 2, so it's negative 2 over x, and then our q is negative 2. So f of x is equal to negative 2 over x minus 2. Just remember, you need to know the equation there. The basic form of the equation, f of x is a over x plus q, that is our hyperbola. And then you make use of what you are given in the graph to determine the unknowns q and a. This one is called an exponential function. And our exponential function has one asymptote, that is the line y is equal to negative 4, the horizontal asymptote. And then we have the y-intercept at negative 3, the x-intercept at x is equal to positive 2. Now, to determine the equation of this function, you need to know that is f of x is equal to a times b to the power of x plus q. A times b to the power of x plus q. And then The first thing there is our q. Remember, q is the vertical shift, so in this case this function was moved 4 steps downwards, so we can write y is equal to a bx minus 4, because our q is -4, that is 4 steps downwards. And then we need to determine the value of a and the value of b. Let me start with the value of a here. I want to substitute the y-intercept when x is 0 and y is -3. So my y here is -3 is equal to a, my x is 0, and this is -4. The reason why I decided to substitute this coordinate is because I want to get rid of bx. I can only get rid of bx by raising it to the power of 0 when our x is 0. So this is going to be equal to -3 is equal to b to the power of 0 is 1, so it's a minus 4. And our minus 4 goes to the other side, is 4 minus 3 is equal to a. So my a is equal to 1. So we now have y is equal to, my a is 1 times bx minus 4. We now have only one unknown which we need to determine. Let's now use the x-intercept. My x-intercept, x is 2 and y is 0. So it's 0 is equal to, I can ignore this one, b to the power of 2 is minus 4. The minus 4 goes to the other side, it becomes positive 4 is equal to b squared. This is a basic exponential equation. We can put square roots to both sides, or we can simply write the 4 in exponential form, right? And then we have the same powers, so we just take the bases. B is equal to 2. So the equation then, or the function then, is f of x is equal to, my a is 1 and then my b is 2. So this is 2 to the power of x. My q is -4, so it's minus 4. So the equation of this function is f of x is equal to 2 to the power of x minus 4 when our a is equal to 1. This is functions grade 10. Continue enjoying.